Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ryan Eastman. Joining me in the booth tonight for the Game 1, the first game of the FBA 2021 season, 22 season. We'll get there eventually. Is Christopher Whalen. How you doing tonight, Christopher?
Doing just fine. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm excited to be back in regular season time. We had a fun preseason. Last SportsDen though was of the rookie challenge games. It's been a little while since then, but an opportunity tonight to see a couple of those rookies performing here, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams have integrated their new players and looking forward to the season as a whole. It promises to be a good one.
Well, here we are in Treasure State Arena, and just taking a quick look at the starting lineup, we do have a bit of a change-up going on here. Obviously, Montana will be playing without Rand and Nue, who retired this last off season. So we've seen a bit of a shuffle with their roster. It seems like they're starting rookie Andy Roth at small forward and recent acquisition Crosby Sutters over from the Baltimore Spirits at power forward. See how those two mesh with this lineup. Whereas the Keystones are going extremely young. We have two rookies starting tonight, Celia Boyce and Wei Jing. Uh, Two rookies integrating into the starting lineup already. You have to imagine a lot of pressure is going to be put on them.
Yeah, it's interesting because they do have some very seasoned veterans on the team, although not too many. You've got Kasper Kuzik, um, uh, who has done very well so far for his career. Um, they do have Margaret Warrior at center, and she's sort of the most senior individual of their starting line. Everyone else there is either in their, I think, third or second year, aside from the two rookies. So
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Margaret Warrior was a big producer for them last year, and like I said, looking at their lineup as a whole, I mean, the oldest players in terms of experience, Kitaro Kurosaki, Christian Hinks, and Emilio Dessa Springer, all 7 year veterans. However, not a one of them in the starting lineup to start tonight. So you have to wonder if Pittsburgh's trying to build for the future. For the longest time, they were one of the oldest teams with Randy Catcher leading them, and now we're seeing a bit of a youth revolution from them.
well, I think at this point, uh, you're when you refuse to get new blood into your club, eventually, I not to sound morbid or anything, but your players die out. Like they
They
that
need a
not
transfusion.
yeah, exactly. They've got they do have a young starting lineup, and it seems like they think that they've this is the transfusion that their team needs, and I'm very curious to see um how their playstyle has shifted now that they're sort of you know leaning on their younger talent.
Yes, and I think the players are heading to the court now, so let's cut on down live to the arena. And with the tip off, we are live. Howlereen underway here in Montana.
Oh, I just got chills. Say it again.
Howlereen is live here in Montana. And it's going to be Pittsburgh getting the first bucket. The Lion coming back from free agency, signing of a massive deal this offseason. Will stay with the Keystones for the foreseeable future. Montana answering back. It's the rookie Roth. Finger roll in, drive to the basket.
Well, and you have to wonder, like Pittsburgh is definitely coming out strong here. They know what a formidable opponent Montana is, especially during this first game of the season. Uh, you have to come out strong, or Montana's just going to steamroll you.
Well, you have to have some questions for Montana in terms of, who's going to be their leader coming on the floor. Nue, for a while, really led the team as we see Warrior getting a second chance opportunity and converting. Uh, but now we got Krista Renstill taking over that point guard position, which for the longest time she's played shooting guard her career. As we see here, doing a pull-up jumper. You have to wonder how she'll adjust to this point guard role full time, or if maybe one of their bench players, Cross or Murphy, might eventually slip into that starting lineup if they don't produce like they want to.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of teams, just kind of glancing over here at some of the starting lineups that are being reported, and they're changing the strategies a little bit for this year. I think there's kind of a movement across the board among all teams, seeing if we can put some players in some different positions, shake things up, and really see if that works out for the team. And this is no exception.
As we see Myers headed to the line for two, fouled from behind by the Red Wolf, Mike Rising. Had to foul there or else a dunk was incoming. See if the Fair can get it done from the free throw line. As Pitt looking to build a bit of a lead here off of the slow start from the Howlers, already up by, I was about to say 6, but 5 here. Whereas if we dive on over to the Montana Howlers, a team with a bit more experience. Obviously, Crosby Sutter is 11-year veteran. Krista Wren still 8-year veteran. But there's still some youth in their lineup as St. Croix and Rising, 3-year veterans, coming back to Montana after the rookie. Well, Rising being acquired off his rookie contract, and the Polar Bears sticking around.
Well, it's definitely interesting looking at Montana's bench. You do have a lot of young blood there. It's this is a much more traditional kind of setup where you've got your veterans kind of stacked up front. You've got a very solid bench with players who might still be developing, but have shown in the past that they're here, they're showing up and willing to play. And then of course you round out the team with a couple extra veterans who might have some wisdom to impart, and your kind of newer, like the rest of your newer players are back in reserve.
And it's actually the young guns from Pitt building a lead. We're about to see it here, a 10-point lead already in the Howlers. Have to call timeout after that lethargic opening. 3.5 minutes in and only a single basket to their name, while Pittsburgh seems to be unable to miss, and even if they do, they manage to find those second chance opportunities.
Yeah, I don't think the Howlers were expecting this sort of opening when they invited Pittsburgh to play this year.
Well, and as mentioned in the finals last year, with the rookies, you really don't know what to expect day to day, even quarter to quarter. Sometimes consistency is their biggest question mark. They can have explosive outings, but then completely fall apart at a drop of a hat, either due to some confidence issues or adjustments made and not being able to make a change on the fly to a defensive shift. But Montana finally getting a bucket, breaking that dry spell, and trying to prove that they are going to be a competitive team here tonight.
Oh, I've just been informed with a note by Jimmy that they're no longer Pittsburgh, that the youths are calling it P-burg.
I don't trust Jimmy being hip and up to date with the youths.
No, I really don't either. It's sort of a hello fellow teens moment.
I think the youths may have been from 20 years ago calling it that. Sutter is stepping out of bounds there. Defense a little too strong, able to get him to commit the turnover after that second chance opportunity. So the player, Crosby, third team in I think, 3 years now? Came back to the league, played for Vegas, shifted over to Baltimore and in a trade, I believe, and now given the chance in free agency, chose to come to the Howlers. The big block coming out there from the Polar Bear.
Well, when you make a sort of a career comeback, sometimes it takes a little bit to find that team where you really gel. And I think, especially nowadays, coaches know what they're looking for. They, with a veteran like Sutters, you're going to have, what you're getting, and it's just a matter of whether his play style fits in with the rest of your team. I think he's definitely he's found a good home here in Montana, uh, given his very kind of traditional play style, very reliable player to have in your starting line.
And off that big block, we saw Andy Roth getting the bucket down in the second as well. And Montana, 8 points now after only scoring 2 in the first 3 minutes. As Pittsburgh, though, they are not backing down still. A double-digit lead here, 18-8. Not even half the quarter done. Pittsburgh is on a scoring tear, on track to break 40 for this quarter if they keep this up.
Yeah, Montana really has to get their act together here. If they keep this up, it's not going to be a very exciting game for the fans here.
Well, and then we see a little bit of another hard foul. The rookie running into the polar bear, no fear, going to the line for 2. And I thought we saw in that last possession from the Howlers a bit of my concern with Rinstill taking rookie jitters, missing on the first one and the second.
Oh, wow.
Someone's going to be at free throw drills.
Yeah. Oh.
But as I was saying, though, rising, almost an alley-oop, but lays it in. If the game could slow down for 2 seconds, I could get my thought out. The Rinstill playing an isolation play there. I mean, that's what she does as a shooting guard. She can't really afford to do that as a point guard.
Well, old habits die hard.
And St. Croix already a second foul. That might be concerning enough to sub her out. And yes, they will bring in Dunbrock. Not a terrible surprise. And that's one of the benefits they have. They definitely have a very deep big fur, thanks to the acquisition of Sutters and having Dunbrock and Lawrence St. Martin on the bench. So they going even deeper. They even have Rodney Blackburn. So that's one area they're not worried at.
It's interesting to sort of see where these lineups are at. The commissioners instilled the new 4-game pregame this season to kind of balance things out a little bit. And so I think some of these teams we're going to see in the first couple of games still kind of experimenting with their lines, trying to figure out where everyone is sort of best suited at.
Yeah, and I mean, pointing over to Pittsburgh, we talked about 2 rookies being in the starting lineup, but you have to wonder, does that mean that really those 2 spots are essentially open tryouts right now? I think it'd be insane if Garland was not in the starting lineup, given how much money they just threw at him. But outside of him, they don't necessarily have any position locked down, I feel like. Yes, Margot Warrior stepping up last year, being a contender for most improved player, as we see Garland with the strip. Fast break to Myers, elevating in the fair, and dunks it down.
I admit I'm a little surprised that they don't have Kurosaki in the small forward position.
Or even, going way down there to Odessa Springer. I mean, she is a 2-time champion. A bit surprising not to have her even playing tonight, possibly. As foul trouble hits Pittsburgh now, as Warrior gets her second personal foul. Probably going to see her also subbed out.
Well, Pittsburgh can afford to get a little sloppy here right now. They're more or less up by 10. I mean, right now they're up by 8, but the bucket here could fix that. You when you have that such a large lead at the beginning of the game, you do see the players start to get a little more loose with their plays, a little more. Maybe they're taking more risks, but at the same time they're more focused on keeping that lead, and maybe they're missing some places where their play isn't as tight as it should be.
Yeah, and I do have one concern to point out with the Pittsburgh lineup. Whereas Montana has a Wide selection of birds to select as we'll see Kurosaki actually drawing contact against Andy Roth. Pittsburgh doesn't have as much depth as you would like to possibly see at that big position. Obviously, their rookie Rebecca Hattori could fill in with Margot being in foul trouble. And then after that, it gets down to Christian Hanks and Damon Miel. Not necessarily two players you would trust in a tight game situation. Sure, coming off the bench. And speaking of Rebecca, the rookie, wide open, 12 feet out from the baseline, just completely left open there. Can't leave the Badgers that open.
Well, I think she's got something to prove here. There's a little bit of controversy around her in the preseason. She's a very outspoken individual, and it kind of takes a team with a very guiding hand to sort of take the energy of someone like that and put it to good use. I think we're already seeing a little bit of that here in tonight's game.
Well, I mean, when things are going well, you can easily say that. But, I mean, Pittsburgh is in that situation where I don't know. Is Rebecca, same spot, missing. We talked about the lack of veteran, really. I mean, not very many. Bears is rising! Elevates off the assist from Roth for the dunk over the back. Oh, my, Montana, that is one way to get back into this game. But back to what I was saying, without a veteran necessarily to guide Rebecca, you have to wonder, sure, when they're winning, her behavior might be great, but when they start having some struggles, could some of those issues that were brought up and kept her from being drafted in the first round start slipping out?
Well, and I think that's where, that's kind of where Springer comes in a little bit. She's also a very passionate player, but her passion is definitely tempered. Maybe they're hoping that Huatari is going to pick up, some of that temperance from her. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
And we see a reach and foul. Shot clock will reset to 14, and Pittsburgh slowed down a touch. I mean, they'll probably break 30 here before the end of the quarter. Montana really picked it up, but in the end, it's still too close to really say that they've brought it back. Sure, they were down by 11, and they might be able to limit that to only a bucket or two, but no indication from Pittsburgh that they will slow down at all here. As Blessing, just barely missing the shot in Pittsburgh. Kusick coming in, a player have some questions about. Obviously left Biloxi to go to Seattle, was traded to, I believe, Edmonton, and then went from Edmonton to Pittsburgh. Been on a bit of a journey the past couple years.
Yeah, again, one of those players that really needs to find their niche. Obviously, a stellar player. They won Rookie of the Year.
Tied.
In 2018.
Tied.
I'm sorry, you're right. They co-won.
The co-won
Rookie of the Year in 2018 with a certain Cat of the Mountains, as we like to say, and he's had kind of since then he's been kind of tossed around a little bit, especially in 2020. That season he saw 3 separate teams last year. Started Voyager, ended up Edmonton, and finally in Pittsburgh, all in one season. And it's interesting to sort of see how Pittsburgh is going to utilize him, especially if he's not starting tonight.
Well, apparently how they're going to utilize them is as a 3 threat, as we see Rising hit a 3, then followed by Kusick hitting a 3, Rising hitting another 3, and now Blessing hitting a 3. Where are these 3s coming from, people? We have not seen a single 3 tonight, and suddenly 4 back-to-back 3s just get dropped like this is the 3-point contest.
Oh, I was hoping that last one was going to go into...
I would have lost my mind.
3-quarter lob.
You would have heard a Peacock absolutely lose his mind had a full court heave of that nature fallen after 4 previous 3s. This is the game 1. You can't have something like that happen game 1 of the season.
No, this is like a 3/4 of the way through thing.
Yeah, this is game, fourth quarter game on the line. You just need to heave it, make the playoffs or not. You see Anna laying it up and in, and you see there the bench for the Keystones have been outperforming the Howlers. Really, the Howlers have relied on Roth and Rising to get the vast majority of their scoring done. It's a nice little finger roll there. Montana down by 8 here. The momentum seemed to be shifting in their favor with Rising's threes, but the Keystones absolutely stepping up and answering back and not allowing any ground to be given.
Yeah, Montana's gonna start chipping away at their deficit, and they're not gonna do that by doing that.
No, turnovers are killer, and that's some of the questions slipping in of who's leading the possessions, and players who maybe not do it as often are now having to step up. And Blackburn, and we get the rebound, a fast break opportunity, but blocked out of bounds. It will remain with the Howlers,
Wow.
but that finger roll absolutely denied.
Well, and it's fascinating to me because Montana's always been a really strong club here, and we've sort of seen that decline a little bit over the last couple of years. They I'm not saying that they're kind of at the end of their term here, but they really need to start picking up their play, maybe looking to I don't know, a couple different strategy, a couple new strategies than they've been relying on as the rest of their division sort of evolves. I'd love to see them kind of recapture some of the glory that they had in previous years this season.
As we see another interception there, and again, that's just not sure who's really taking dangerous passes, not unnecessarily. And you're right. I feel like Montana obviously peaked back in the final showing, back when Sterling was on the roster, and we've seen a slow rebuilding of it. Obviously, acquiring St. Croix during the draft, Rising in free agency, and they've been drafting well. I feel like it's just now they need to. They're trying to rebuild a puzzle with some old pieces, and that doesn't always work. Sometimes the pieces fit, sometimes they don't.
And they're using old playbooks still, and that's fascinating to me because right now they really need to focus on fundamentals. You have to get that solid base going for the team before you can rely on flashy plays. And I don't know that with this new squad that they've kind of been slowly building up, if they've really done those really critical, making sure we can read each other before we start doing fancy stuff on the court.
Just like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for proving me right, Montana. And their playbook is fantastic, but it only works if you are, if you're aware of each other.
All it takes is a quarter second of being off time to result in those kind of turnovers, especially at this speed of play. So they have to refine themselves in the sense of reestablishing that rhythm that they've obviously had shifted just a bit. So we see Tyreek Murphy, fast break opportunity, laying it up and in. And if players can't adjust and quick enough, we might see some shuffling of the roster. Obviously, I mentioned some of the point guards on the bench for the Howlers. Rising has shown to be an absolute scoring monster, so they don't necessarily need Krista to also be that three-point threat if Rising is able to do it himself. They do need someone to be able to get the ball to him, though, which if Krista's not able to do, could cost her possibly a starting spot and move to the sixth bench for position.
Which goes back to what I was saying earlier. You got to make sure that you can get the basic plays down before you start, pulling things out of the deep playbook. And they'll get there. I have faith in them. They've got a good club. They've got a good coaching staff. who know what they're doing, but the team just has to gel. I think they just haven't set yet.
And now struggling from beyond the arc. Apparently it takes Rising to get everything started from beyond there. And ooh, a third foul for the Polar Bear will almost certainly no. I think she's still on the floor. They can't afford to bench her with Warrior back out there now, as the starting lineup for both teams are on the floor again. Except Murphy. Murphy's still out there. And great pump fake, but the Bear not falling for the contact. Tough shot from Boyce coming out, no good.
Oh, well, and now it's sort of a gambling game. You know, when you're down by 8, you can't afford to pull your best players off the court. And you know, stopping the play by fouling is only so effective. But Montana needs to do something to turn this game around. You know, I think for sure if Pittsburgh is up by 8 or 10 at the half, they're going to have a very long climb ahead of them in the second half of the game.
And Rising has been getting it done, and now it's the Polar Bear drive to the basket against Warrior, back within 4. And they have to be a little concerned with Rising doing the bulk of the carrying. If Pittsburgh makes some adjustments on their defensive schemes to start shutting him down, and oh, the White Lion gets stuffed by the Polar Bear. That's a matchup necessarily doesn't always going to work out for him. 5'9" versus the 7'3" Polar Bear. I'm going to go and lean to the Polar Bear as winning that 9 times out of 10.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he may have been hoping for some contact there, but Senqua is very smart with how she's able to guard against smaller furs. Magnano on the perimeter. Foul, this time coming out from the rookie. Kira will cause the shot clock actually to reset to 14. Bit of a fresh clock for the Keystones to work something out.
Yeah, and you know, this is another example of like, you know, taking that risk, trying to, you know, maybe you're going to draw a foul as you're trying to get the rock away from someone else, but in this case, it didn't work out for Montana.
And it was the very quick pass to Myers getting it done over Kira. Great matchup there. Able to just turn around and lay it in. Oh, if only that was Rising in the corner, that would have been a wide open 3, but it's going to be the Bear off the glass is good. Answering back, and she's starting to pick it up now scoring-wise, and obviously the 2 blocks are big, but if she can get involved in the post play, that'll just open up the perimeter even more for Rising.
Yeah, right now I don't think Montana's complaining about whether or not they're getting 2 or 3 points out of basket. They're just happy that they're putting points on the board.
I mean, yeah, 4-point game. They're happy at the moment. And another matchup favorable towards the Ferret, but unable to make it work. And Montana, a chance to cut this down to 1 as the rookie makes up for the mistake of fouling earlier with a 3.
There's a 1-point game with 5 minutes left to go in the half.
And considering where we were 3 minutes into the game, down by 10, Pittsburgh is giving it up here now. A chance for Montana to take the lead for the first time this game here before the half ends. But blocked. Warrior blocking Roth from behind off the glass.
Definitely time for that double team.
Yeah, it's going to be Zing dunking it down in transition. The rookie elevating, guaranteeing the ball win the basket as long as he doesn't incorporate here. The Krista, ooh, fouled hard by Warrior. Now that's Warrior's 3rd foul as well. So the 2 centers now starting to be a little concerning with the fouls. If they get 4 before the half ends, we might see them benched.
I think they're playing chicken. One team seeing whether the other one puts their center on the bench. They're okay, cool. We can put ours there too.
Well, Montana's going to win that race. I feel like they just have so many more options that I'd be more comfortable with, and we do see, I think, finally. Sinqua getting a bit of a rest. She's been out there for a while. They're going to let, I think that's Blackburn on the floor, guard Warrior. They can afford to let him get a few fouls. And Myers putting up a heave of a three-pointer as the shot clock was his enemy. No good there. Montana, another opportunity here. Krista with the ball, calling for the screen. Spin move against the Lion. Off the glass, no good. Warrior pulls it down. And Pitt wants to go fast. Myers in the post, double teamed. They decide to reset the play, though, backing off. They've already burned so much of that game clock. They need to make a decision. They're going to go to the line. Not surprising. He'll just drive to the paint. Pulls back with the high jumper. Battle for the rebound, no good. It's actually Dunbrock in to guard the Bear. Third time's the charm, perhaps, for Montana here. Within one. And Roth finds a way to the basket and elevates for a dunk. Dancing between two defenders as he slams it down.
And this stadium has gone wild. For the first time in the game, Montana is up by one, and they're heading back down the court for another helping. No good.
Oh, yeah, but Montana, as you can tell, the crowd, with the cheers when they took the lead off that dunk, they are back in this game. Over to Boyce. Calling for the screen. Open shot is good from mid-range, taking the lead back.
Now, does Montana go for the three here to try and eke that grow that lead point by point, or do they go in for the kill?
Yeah, I don't think they can afford going for threes here. Yes, they had two, unless Rising's taking it. There's no point to take the three, I feel like, for Montana right now. Krista is just not producing at the moment. And Rising is on the bench, resting. They're going to go to Fortier. No good. Gilliam unable to get it to convert.
Well, I find it odd that they're not letting Bren still actually take those threes, or that she's looking a little cold today. 2018 three-point shootout champion.
Well, I have to admit it is a different sensation of being the fur with the ball, taking the three, being as a spot-up shooter versus a catch-and-shoot shooter, which
it's true.
Obviously, with Ren Anue, she was able to be, catch, shoot. Didn't really have to necessarily generate the space herself, or she could always just call for a pick and do it. So she's kind of having to evolve her game if she's going to be the point guard. And obviously Rising could do a little tag team with her, or when he's on the bench, she could slide over to shooting guard. But if she's going to spend a lot of time at point guard, she might struggle with that new role.
Yeah, and they really need to sort of build their playbook around her if they're going to keep her in that position.
Cross with the layup. Quick little basket coming out from the Rabbit. And it's going to be the rookie again, Jing, able to get the bucket. I think that's his 9th point here tonight. Great showing from the Pittsburgh rookie, matching almost Roth stride for stride in points. Cross. Ends up in St. Martin's. Pause as he lays it up and in. Another player we weren't sure we would see after his rookie deal. Didn't really produce a lot in Edmonton, despite the opportunity of having a team that was doing a rebuild. He wasn't able to crack that upper lineup and really get enough minutes to impress many teams, but signed with Montana. See if he has an opportunity here. 5-point game. Montana possibly last possession here. You would hope maybe a three, but with how their performance has been tonight, points is all that matters. But a huge three. No good. Yeah, that was a bit of a heave there from Cross coming out, not able to convert. We'll dive into the stats in a bit, but I can already tell you it's going to be the tale of 2 players per team, I feel like, with Andy Roth and Mike Rising for Montana carrying the load, and Ulysses and Wei Zing carrying the load for Pitt. Even though I think Pitt had a bit more diversity in their scores.
Yeah, I think their score spread's a little closer to the bench than Montana's. But Montana's been able to keep it to 5, which in my mind still gives them a decent chance of catching up in the second half here.
Yeah, and scrolling through, Sutters hasn't taken a shot yet, but hasn't really needed to with how the players around him have been performing. And Ren still 0 for 5. That's a stat that needs to turn around. Truly, obviously the free throws are great if you can get to the line, but if you can't, you're not gonna be very productive with all those missed shots. And that 5-point lead could disappear very easily had she made 2 of those. And so for the rest of the bench, a few highlights here and there. Obviously, Kira with that big 3 kept Montana in it. But the bench as a whole, we saw Pitt was outscoring them massively as we dive on over to them. And so you see a bit more of a spread. Warrior, Ulysses nearly putting up similar score. Warrior actually 3 for 3, matching St. Croix in efficiency, perfect from the floor. And Pitt generally shooting above 50% here tonight. And spread across the whole team. It's not like one player seemingly has had a struggle. They've all produced when needed, which is why they find themselves with the lead. It's just a question of can they slow down and prevent Rising from carrying Montana with his momentum.
Well, I think it's interesting. Pittsburgh's definitely taking a little more time to pick their shots, probably because they've been up the whole game. Montana feels like they have to make up a little bit for lost time, as we already see that happening here.
Well, remember, they scored 2 points in 3 minutes, and outside of that, they've scored 49 points now. So anything is possible with them. It's you want to get the howlers that we've seen the majority of the game versus that first 3 minutes, because those are 2 very, very different teams.
It's very true.
Krista with the ball, calling for screen. We're going to get to Rising from the right sideline. He was good from the left earlier, and just like that, there is no such thing as coming off the bench cold for him. Absolutely unbelievable. Tying the game up 54 apiece.
It's like the whole first half didn't exist now.
And, well, it does exist for St. Croix because that's her 4th foul. And I talked about getting a 4th foul before the half ended, but being 1 minute and 1 second into the second half is not that different.
Yeah, it's not that better. It's not much better.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if we see her subbed out, just because if she were to give up a 5th foul before the third quarter even ended, that's far too long for her to have to play smart. But no, Montana, they trust their bear and they trust their depth. They'll keep her out there. Roth calling for the screen. Open lane to the basket. Dunking it down. Warrior not able to do anything, is too much of a concern of getting her own 4th foul had she tried to block from behind. Ulysses, no good on his shot attempt. Montana can take the lead here. Fast play, Ren still. Can she make her first bucket for the night? And she does. The Fox in transition, wide open inside the paint, making her first basket here besides those free throws earlier.
You can only imagine the pep talk that she got during the half. It's like, do better. She's like, I'm trying.
I'm trying. And the rookie Zing taking the lead back for Pitt. Back and forth game here, which really shouldn't have been a back and forth game after that first quarter, but here we are in Roth. He wants to go up again, but this time it's Myers with the block. Rejecting. Myers with the huge block, and on the other end tries to get the basket. No good. Sutter's tight defense against the Ferret. No good. But look who's open down low in the paint. It's Sutter's. He had the great defense on one end, and he comes back and dunks it down on the other. Amazing effort on both ends of the court from the Gannett, and able to take the lead back, but it will be Ulysses heading to the line for 2. But no good on the second. I absolutely jinxed him. Oh, tied game here. Neither team. 60 apiece. I don't even know what defensive adjustments either team can make at this point. Alley-oop!
There's something in just letting it play out and seeing where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, Warrior basket there, and both teams tit for tat. No real lead being built since they came back, but stripped. Roth, rookie, losing the ball, and Boyce has a chance on the other end, and Renstill just has to foul, but they're going to call it a shooting foul. Will go to the line for 2. See if the rookie can hold their nerve here. Get on the first.
Buck's not happy about that at all.
Well, they gave up a turnover. They needed to. She had to foul to stop an easy lay-in, which you always hate it because you're like, okay, they're probably going to make 1, probably 2 of these is even worth getting that foul, but you don't want to let them get a dunk and build momentum. And on the other end, St. Croix laying in off the glass. Good battle down low in the post against Warrior. Ulysses calling for the screen. Wide open to the basket. Ooh, Krista, that's her 3rd. She's definitely not happy about that one.
Neither is the crowd.
Well, I mean, the refs blow a whistle, and they're going to get booed here tonight.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless it's on the other team. Unless it's against Pitt. And even then, we're going to see a foul call. It's going to be a charging, and the crowd's going to erupt at how dare they call a charging against the Howlers.
Their beloved Howlers.
Yeah. Oh, but dancing between, laying it up and in. Surprised the defense didn't get a paw on it. Ulysses, talking about the difference between him and Krista, he's been dynamic. His 3 defenders, 5'9". No one got a paw on the ball as it went up between 3 defenders.
It's definitely a case of too many cooks. Like, they all thought the other person was going to get it, so they stayed out of each other's way.
Well, I mean, turnover there for Montana. That's not a good way to get this going. Is a chance to build up a 6-point lead. Well, and you look at players like Lance Wildfire, retired this offseason. You know, shorter players who had to get creative, especially in the post. I mean, obviously being able to generate your own space on the perimeter is one thing, but when bodies get closer to the basket, it's a lot harder to find that space. Some players have that instinct to see the path to the basket, and others just trying to out-muscle them, and that rarely works out for some of these players.
Yeah. Well, you got to find that, like you said, you got to find that opening amongst the field of, like, arms in your way, and sometimes it works out for you.
And then that tail comes out of nowhere and blocks it too, because you're going for an underhanded shot. As we see an alley-oop attempt failed, it's going to be Kusick coming back the other way, elevating, and Pitt. I would not be surprised if Montana calls a timeout here. The Pitt is back up by 7, but no, they're going to run with it. They came back from a 10-point deficit. Now they have to do it again from a 7. Of course, Rising would be who they go to, but no, Murphy Beyond the arc, wide open, no good. He has to hit those when Rising gives him that much of a space.
Yeah, you can't afford to miss those opportunities.
And I mean, go ahead.
It's how you end up down by 7 again.
Well, not just 7, down by 9 now. Sorry, I'm laughing. Magnano dunking it down. 11 points. We are back to where we were at the start of the first quarter. All that work Montana put in coming back, and now it's almost like we're back in the first quarter. You talked about it like the first quarter never existed, but we're there again. It's a recurring nightmare now. Sutters will finally break the streak in dunking it down.
Yeah, they just can't shake this recurring dream.
Pitt just unwilling to take a foot off the gas. Garland, mid-range jumper. He gets it done from down low and is able to start stretching it out towards the perimeter. So difficult to shut him down. And Murphy, he missed a wide open 3 earlier in a second. That's 2 missed opportunities. He needed at least one of those to fall. And if you're Montana, you have to feel, I don't want to say that exhaustion starting to hit you. It's not like it's the first quarter anymore. You worked all the way back, and now you're just, in a minute, you're back to where you just were.
That's got to be disheartening.
Especially when you keep just missing shots. I would like to see a timeout just to give a bit of a mental reset. Maybe bring some bench players in. Players who, fresh set of legs to fight their way as Magnano. Second chance opportunities, and yes, we will see some bench players coming in. .12-point game. See if the bench can do anything for Montana. It was the Pittsburgh bench that got them a lead early. Rising off the screen, no good, but Blackburn, second chance opportunity, and he is going to slam it down with an explosive tomahawk. The Timberwolf, he might not get many minutes this game, but he is going to make each of them count. Oh, but Pitt, keeping the crowd quiet. Kusick fading away. Just as soon as you think the crowd might start getting back in it, back to 12. It almost doesn't matter how flashy Montana gets it done if Pittsburgh just can answer back on demand. No opportunities.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You know, they can't rely on flashiness to get them through this.
To see Cross laying it up and in. Finger roll from inside the paint. Defense. That's what they need as the crowd also starts chanting it as if they're listening in. The Pittsburgh defense needs to get some keys. Wow. The Howlers, Montana defense need to get something going. And that's one way. Make them burn the shot clock, take a three-pointer. Rising one-on-one, fighting his way to the basket. Rattles around, no good. The Shark able to defend well. And obviously, when you get a defensive stop, you have to convert on offense. It's a two-way street here.
I'd be very interested to see, like, just what Montana's field goal percentage is. They've had a lot of close misses this game.
I believe it's hovering around 50%, maybe a little below, but there we saw a great defense coming out from Rodney Blackburn with the block and Rising in the fast transition, laying it up and in. And stripped. There we go. A steal this time coming out. Cross one-on-one. Has the lane. Will elevate. And just like that, now the crowd is on their feet. 2 defensive stops, a block and a steal with 2 quick plays in transition, and Montana is back in this game, but they need to keep up the defensive pressure and not allow any. They just slipped through it. There we go, Blackburn. Another block. Absolutely huge coming out from the 7-5 Timberwolf, and Rising will finish it on the other end. This is what they need to do. They need to bring in the bench players. Blackburn has reignited the defense here. That was a big block, too.
Already back into a 4-point game.
Yeah, and it's not even because Pitt's been taking bad shots. They've just been shut down by the defense suddenly. And now the pressure.
It's like putting a fresh player off the bench into the game is a good thing.
And he's going to do it on offense now. And, I mean, that's part of the I don't want to say problem, but, I mean, he's a 7-5 for Montana. Definitely can use that height there. Whereas with Margaret Warrior on the bench right now, that is an area that the Keystones are giving up with this rotation. They do not have a big body. And Blackburn again. He has shut them down on his own. Oh, Rising getting a little too fancy there. Perhaps the adrenaline trying to go for an alley-oop to tie it up. But no, it'll be a foul, and Pitt will go to the line for 2. Oh, good on the first, and Blackburn trying to earn a bit of a move up the bench here with his play, and unfortunately will be benched probably a little bit gassed there after the absolute 120% effort he was putting in. He was everywhere on defense and running down the court to be on offense. I don't blame him for feeling a little winded there. The 3-pointer is no good. We will head into the final quarter. Game a lot closer than I expected, considering the 2 times we've seen the Keystones build double-digit leads. What do you think Montana needs to do here tonight to push this game over the edge? We've seen them break back into the game multiple times, but we have not seen a significant lead from them tonight.
Well, now that they've got, now that they're in the 4th quarter, they can pull out all the stops here. I mean, not in this first minute, hopefully, but let St. Croix out. Maybe play through the last of her fouls, and then as we were saying, keep relying on that bench to shore up your starting line. I mean, we've seen how critical the bench has been on Pittsburgh. If Montana can capture a little bit of that energy, a little bit of that play style, it's going to help elevate them up and over Pittsburgh in the last quarter here.
And truly, they only need to have a 1-point lead when the buzzer sounds, but obviously you want a little bit more than that. As Cross left wide open, Blessing just losing track of her easy lay-in. It was in, the defense wasn't even there.
Well, they were wide open.
Just a little bit of a loss of concentration from Blessing, and Pittsburgh can't afford that here. Montana, the momentum is in their favor, but she makes up for it with a shot from the free throw line, and there's your field goal rates. Yeah, Montana is a little bit above 50% right now. Montana needing to keep it up and answering back. Cross. Ball just rolling out. A little too much spin on it. A little too much mustard slipping out of the basket. Keystone's looking to get back into that comfortable position they found themselves in earlier, in Blessing. She'll just lay it up and in like it's nothing through the defense.
Oh, this ball, it's going in the basket.
Basically, I mean, Rodney, I need to come back on the floor if things go this way, but no, Cross. It's just Cross and Blessing now going back and forth. That's 12
They're
points.
Playing a game of horse.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you play a game of horse with the horseshoe crab. But there we go, a turnover. And we will see some substitutions. I think both teams will bring in a bit of their starting lineup back in. Yeah, Blessing will be kept on the floor. They're going to give the Hot Paw a chance to cool off a little bit before they bring in the Lion to finish out the game.
I see Warrior back at the court, though.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how impactful she is on defense. Cross may not have as easy of a time getting down low in the paint. It's going to be Roth, though. And one off the foul from Myers. And there we go. I think that is both teams, with Warrior back on the floor. They have to bring St. Croix back in.
Are you talking about that 1 point lead at the end of the game?
I mean, there's still 9 minutes left to go. We've seen double-digit leads be built by Pittsburgh in 3 minutes. So
it's true.
At this point, unless Montana has a 20-point lead with 3 minutes left to go, I don't feel comfortable calling it either way. And it'll be the Howlers an opportunity to build a little bit here. And it was Murphy a little slow coming up the floor. Lost his footing, I think, going for the rebound, so they have to wait for him. And now Sutters, great matchup here, wants to take advantage of the horseshoe, but no. He steps out of bounds, and he's going to get called for that as Paul just stepped on the line. And here we go. Garland back in. Krista back in. Over to Boyce. Open lane to the basket. Chooses not to push it. Stripped. But Boyce gets it back. From inside the paint. No good, but Warrior. Offensive rebound. Second chance bucket to Myers. Off the finger roll is good. Pitt back in the lead. Back and forth game. We had this tit for tat earlier, and I think we're going to have it for the rest of the game. And Murphy wide open, but no good. If their name has not been rising, they shouldn't be trying to shoot a three. And Myers dunking it down off the transition play. Oh, Pittsburgh so quick. I think Montana needs to stay away from the three-pointers here tonight. They have struggled.
Yeah, it's definitely not been good for them.
Well, they can go for a three-pointer like that as Sutters draws contact against Myers. Will go to the line for an and one. This is where you'd like to have your veteran there. No pressure. Doesn't feel a thing. Now the question is he good enough to make the free throw? You can be cool as a cucumber, but if you can't make the shot anyways, it doesn't matter. Oh no, jinxed him a bit. Down by one. And Boyce, spin move, open lane to the basket, and the finger roll in from the rookie. Earwig just laying it up and in. And we haven't heard much of Zing tonight. And Krista trying to go for that three to tie it up. And again, not listening to my advice. They need to, hire me down there and tell them to stop shooting threes unless you're rising.
I think they've got an assistant coach position open.
I don't know. I think FSPN pays me a little bit more than assistant coach. Missed opportunity there from Zing to push this lead up, and it's going to be Roth giving it over to Sutters. Sutters shooting it up. He had no points in the first half, and that's his 8th point, I think, here. Stepping it up in the second half and keeping Montana close.
That same pep talk they gave to Renstall, they gave to Sutters as well.
Well, and that's the thing. He didn't even take a shot the first half. He didn't need it. An alley-oop attempt to no. The rookie misses the connection out of bounds, and it will be Keystone's ball. 6.5 minutes left to go here. A 1-point game. Plenty that can still happen here, though. Ulysses finds a lane to the basket, but blocked. Great play from Murphy there on the defensive end, stopping that opportunity. Rinstill for three. No good. Battle for the ball. Sutters He does not give up, and he pulls it down, but no good. Warrior, she will just take it herself. 1, 2 steps to the basket, dunking it down. That's a dub-dub for her. 12 rebounds, 12 points. And Rising, a player that we want to see back on the court soon. But no, Christopher 3 is good. She finally breaks the cold spell and ties it up here. 94 apiece.
Everyone is on their feet. Good reason to.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're not chanting to sub her out. I mean, Cross has had a much more efficient night. And, oh, goodness, the white line elevates. 5'9", with that vert, able to dunk it down. Montana, how are you going to answer back to that? Go for a 3, answer the dunk, but no, tipped. Ball tipped out of bounds. It will stay with the Howlers, and with that, Rising back on the floor. He has had an opportunity to rest. We saw him hit a 3 at the very first possession of the second half. See if he can continue that lack of needing to warm up off the bench. Shot clock coming a problem. Sutters is going to give a screen for the rookie. Beyond the arc, 3 from the Hawk, off the glass, no good. Pitt a chance to build a little bit of cushion as Garland. He's done it from everywhere except from beyond the arc, and no good there. Not setting up at all. Rising, one-on-one. A little bit of a hop step, gets open, lays it up in, tied game. 96 apiece. Neither team stepping off the gas here, and thankfully fouls have not become a problem for either team. As I say that, though, I'm pretty sure I just jinxed both teams.
Yeah.
No, St. Croix and Warrior will have a fist fight and get ejected now. As I say that, of course, though, 10 points now for the Polar Bear, laying it up and in, giving Montana another lead, but I can't feel comfortable with anything. Stripped. Roth coming up with it. Fast break opportunity. Against Myers, trying to fight his way down to the post. No good. Giving it to Wren still. She hit a 3 earlier, but no good there. But no one around to get the ball, and it's just going to end up in Rising's paws. He'll take a 3. Oh, no good there. Unable to convert. Was given a gift of an open look. And to me, Myers tying it up 98 apiece now. And both teams shooting very well, barring, beyond the arc. Krista laying it up and in, the foul and 1 opportunity. Warrior, that's her 4th foul. She still has 2 to give before she's ejected. And they're going to sub Garland out. This is an interesting idea. They're going to bring back Blessing. And actually, they're going to call timeout. They may have just wanted to give him a little bit of rest and talk to him. But calling a timeout here with 3 minutes left to go, that is a ballsy decision.
Yeah,
they
it's
might
a
need that
risky
timeout.
move.
I said, how this game is going, it might just come down to who has the final possession here. And I don't know if you can afford to give up that free half-court bounce in if you're Pitt. I know they will keep Ella in, maybe give Garland a chance to rest before the final minute, but they don't need him with Zing dunking it down there. One-point game, Montana. Wanting to keep the pressure up. They can't afford to walk away empty-handed whenever Pitt puts up a basket. And there, Sutter's wide open, a little too strong off the back. Pitt a chance to answer here. One-on-one against Boyce. Myers. Oh, the Bear pulling the ball down above the Ferret. That looked like an easy second chance opportunity, but not a problem for St. Croix to pull it down. Warrior on the other end. Back to Myers. Laying it up and in. Avoiding getting called for the charge will give Pitt a 1-point lead.
I think both teams at this point have to stick to, post play here. Taking those long shots definitely aren't doing either team any favor.
Oh, Krista, there we go. Big clutch bucket coming out from her.
Of course, she's going to prove me wrong, but that's okay.
Well, that was only a 2-pointer, too. She took a long-range shot for only 2 points.
Hey, you know what? It brought them back over the edge.
That it did, but Warrior, offensive rebound, second chance opportunity. Giving the screen on the perimeter. Boyce not able to convert, though. St. Croix pulling the ball down. And the crowd is on their feet cheering. And you saw Krista decide not to take that 3 there. Not a bad idea. If she had made it, it would have been great, but missing it would have been a bigger issue. But here she'll take a 3 even further out. No development from the play. A little bit of I was going to say sputtering, stalling, yeah, in terms of what they wanted to do. And it's going to be Blessing. Oh, she tried to tip it to Warrior, but it's intercepted. Another missed opportunity. Pitt will have the ball one more time at least as Roth. Drive to the basket, but blocked. Warrior comes in huge there on defense, stopping the Hawk and Myers. No one's around him. He's going to dunk it in, the Ferret. Howlers have to call timeout as Pitt takes the lead with 20.6 seconds left to go. Massive defensive stop there, and the quick turnaround from Myers to take the ball up the court and dunk it in before the defense got there. Oh, puts Pitt up by 1, but with 20 seconds left, that's plenty of time for Montana to run something. Who will they go to? Krista on the perimeter. Gets an open look and makes it. She has struggled so much tonight, and she is coming up huge in this final couple minutes of the game. Just only focus on this quarter, and she's had a great showing. But now Pitt. Go ahead.
With 10 seconds left, can Pitt come back and kind of seal the deal? They've been up all game long. We've seen them get a 10-point lead in 3 minutes, but can they make a
single?
Can they score 3 points in 10 seconds?
Well, not just that. I mean, they're going to try and go in. Warrior had an opportunity, possibly in a bucket, is no good from Boyce. There might have been an opportunity.
Montana wins.
Somehow they come back from 2 different deficits of 12 points.
Oh my God.
And just like that, Howlereen is done as the Montana Howlers somehow hang on. I told you they only needed 1 point at the end of the buzzer to win, and they got exactly that.
Howlers fans are going to have a fantastic Howlereen tonight. Man, I'm certain they're going to be riding in the streets. What a game.
I mean, it was only one game. They can't.
It's Howlereen. It's not just a game.
Yes, it's a game where they give out sugary cocktails instead of the regular beers because it's candy inspired. But as we've scrolled through the team, obviously Rising stepped it up for the Howlers, and Cross coming off the bench. That was the one factor they were missing in that first half that really came through. She was able to put up so many points. Honestly, I was questioning whether or not they should have subbed her in instead of Krista in that final half, but Krista stepped up at the very end. Whereas diving on over to the Pittsburgh Keystones, they definitely kept the scoring pretty spread. Warrior walking with a double double. Myers 15 points as well, coming up big in those last few possessions, getting those opportunities to bring him back in. Obviously, Ulysses, he wasn't shooting the highest percentage, which is probably why they subbed him out and tried to give fresh legs of Blessing an opportunity to really close it out, but she also struggled a bit there. And like I said, the bench quieted down for the Keystones in that second half. Obviously, Kusick was the kind of one exception to that. But other than that, it was just a point here or there from the bench. So thoughts or takeaways for both of these teams tonight?
I gotta say here in Billings, it's all treat, no tricks. Um, they they fought hard for their win, and I don't think anyone here was honestly expecting that they'd come from that far behind. Obviously, we saw Renzel step it up this game, showing that maybe point guard is probably a good fit for her once they work out a couple of the kinks.
Yeah, I mean there's gonna be some growing pains they need to get through, and obviously you look at the biggest lead. Montana only ever had a 3-point lead at best, so in the end it was they're gonna be happy that they won, but they if this game had gone another minute, it's very possible that Pittsburgh would have walked away. It was not a lead that they could have been comfortable with at any point. But they obviously showed a lot of heart being able to come back from multiple deficits. As for the
Absolutely.
I'll say as for the Pittsburgh Keystones, I think for the fans they should walk away with this excited. I mean, Pittsburgh finished fourth from the bottom last year, and came here tonight and battled Montana, who is a different team than last year, but was a team in the top 10. And Pittsburgh did it with their rookies, so there's some exciting future. We saw a bit of possibly their future here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. I said at the beginning of this game, I'm excited to see where the rookies sort of fall into the team, and certainly Boyce and Zing have definitely fallen into the fold in Pittsburgh. They even though they lost, like you said, Pittsburgh can go back home with their heads held high, knowing that they put up a really good fight, and I think you're right. Montana won this game, but Pittsburgh gave them a run for their money.
Yeah. Any final thoughts before we close it out for Game One of the 960 game regular season we have before us?
I'm just looking forward to the whole season. I this is my favorite day of the year, getting to come to Billings and get the whole season started. I'm looking forward to seeing where these rookies go in on their new teams. And if this game in particular, or the games coming up, will shift where some of these players fall. We did have a couple of surprises. I think Blackburn coming off the Montana bench, maybe that'll earn them a bencher starting spot next game. We've got again, who knows if Pittsburgh was just trying some new things. That it was early in the season, but maybe we'll see some of their rookies actually continuing to start in the future. So I'm excited.
Yeah, but thank you once again, Christopher Whalen, for joining me in the booth. I've been Ryan Eastman, and we will see y'all next time for the next Sports Den. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.